All right, this will be video lesson number 3. Thank you guys for showing up. Welcome back to our third story. We're working our way through some stories in the Bible and following along with some of what Jesus was doing with his disciples. The first story we talked about Jesus and the centurion and how that went along, and then we last time discussed Jesus and the on the sea. And so we're going to go and retell that story. So Jesus and his disciples come to the sea, and they've been traveling, and he's been teaching, and he's been establishing his teaching as he's been going along. And he comes to the sea, and he gets into a boat, and his disciples get into the boat with him. And then Jesus goes to sleep in the boat. And while they're out in the water, the storm comes up, and the wind is picking up, and it's throwing the boat side to side and back and forth, and the waves are crashing in, they're swamping the boat, and the boat is about to sink. And the disciples are scared at this point. And so the disciples go to Jesus, and they wake him up, and they tell him, "Don't you care that we're going to drown, or that we're going to die?" And Jesus says to them, "O you of little faith, why are you afraid?" And then he gets up, and then he speaks to the wind, and he speaks to the waves, and he tells the wind to stop and the waves to be calm, and then they are. And the disciples are amazed by this, and they say to each other, "What man is this, that even the wind and the waves obey him?" So what was one of the truths that we learned from this story last time?
The winds and the waves obey him.
Yeah, and what does that speak about Jesus? What does that tell us?
His authority.
That's right. It tells us his authority. Is there anything else what about his authority does it tell us?
It extends to the winds and waves.
Right. So originally in the story of the centurion, what did we learn about his authority there?
He had it over sickness.
Right. He was over sickness, and the centurion acknowledges that Jesus is a man of authority. And now we have to see, and we see that Jesus has authority over nature. So now we're going to look at the next story. This is what happens when they get to the other side of the sea. So they're going to be landing. I want you to pay attention to the theme that we've been going on of authority. So ask yourself while we're listening to this, in what way do we learn more about Jesus' authority? Who are the characters involved that we're going to be listening to? And what do they say that's important? So, I'm going to open up. So, Jesus has come to the other side of the sea, and he gets out of the boat and gets out with his disciples. And they're approached by 2 demon-possessed men. And these 2 men are extremely violent men. So much so that no one is allowed to pass that way, because no one can subdue these men. So they come running up to Jesus, and they shout at him, "What have you to do with us, Son of God? Have you come to torment us before the time?" And so nearby, there's this herd of swine. And the demons say, "If you cast us out, then cast us into those swine." And Jesus gives the command, "Go." And immediately the demons leave the 2 men, go into the herd of swine, and the swine go running down the steep bank into the ocean and drown, or into the sea, and they drown. And so the people who were taking care of the pigs, the swine herders, they saw all that was happening, and they ran into town, and they told everyone what had happened, especially about the 2 demon-possessed men. And the town comes out, and when it sees Jesus, the town begs him to leave. So, what do we learn in this story, specifically say about his authority?
Authority over the demons.
He has authority over the demons, correct. What else do we learn about Jesus in this?
doesn't like pigs.
Maybe not quite where we're going
He was a
with
good
that.
Jewish boy.
Was there anything unique that stood out about the conversation or about the characters involved and
The
such?
demon-possessed men recognized his authority.
Right. Was it the demon-possessed men or was it the demons?
The demons.
Yes.
So the demons recognized his authority. Okay. So what does that tell us?
That you can recognize the authority, but not recognize the authority.
Well, but do they recognize the authority?
Well,
Do they obey Jesus?
That was a fun play on words.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed it. So Jesus gives them the command to go, and they go, right?
Mhm.
So what does that tell us about the demons?
They have to listen to him, but
Right.
they don't have to like worship him, and they're not like submitting to his authority ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly it seems that they do still have to obey him though, right?
Mhm.
So in the story, it's interesting. Something else I thought was interesting. The response to Jesus was interesting. What would be your thoughts on why the village or the town came out and said they wanted Jesus to leave?
They're afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah, that could be something. Was there anything else that stood out in the story?
You did let those pigs die,
That is true. The pigs did die.
so I mean they could be pretty ticked off because I'd be mad if I lost all my pigs.
Yeah, that probably was a big issue. The swine herders, these people probably lost their livelihood with that because the pigs all got demon possessed and drowned. So, someone want to try to retell that story?
Josh, I'll
Yep.
help you out if you
Yeah.
try
So
to sell it.
Yeah,
Jesus
you can help each other out telling the
he
story.
gets off the boat. There's two demon-possessed men who recognize his authority and ask if they can be driven out into the pigs. And then he does that, and then all the pigs die. And then the people nearby aren't happy with him and want him to leave.
Okay. Any other details you want to add in that?
No, that was perfect. You should be in orality and oral cultures.